Hello. Right, this is a tag response video to Bluetonic. Now, I think the video that I'm responding to was actually his response to someone else's tag, but I'm going to reply straight to him because, apart from anything else, I actually owe him a tag response from oh god, more than a year ago, but I didn't have a camera that could do video at all at that time. Many of you will know that I'm about to move house. I've not been able to do that until now, but things have improved for me, so I'm just sort of got the house to myself for a moment. I'm just doing a quick video in my bedroom where I live at age 36. Not at all embarrassing. Now, first thing I'm going to say is, I don't know if this is going to be something of a blue video, because I've got my blue light bulb in. It's a long story how I got a blue light bulb, but I thought it might be better than a normal yellow light bulb, so who knows, it might work. Okay, the subject of the tag, and he did an absolutely excellent video on it that I found very interesting, partly because we're almost the same age, and we were you know, obviously the 90s has similar significance to both of us, but okay, so right from the beginning, I went BBC Micro. I was very lucky to have that, and then Acorn Archimedes. I was tremendously lucky to have an Arc. It was mainly because my grandparents were, particularly my late grandfather, was very into computers. He was a teacher, and they both sort of recognised the importance of computers. So they wanted me to have a really good one. Then what happened in the after I left school, obviously I had to start paying for things myself, and by the time I got to about 18, let me see, I left school in 92, so I'd be 16. So by the mid-90s, the money had really started to run out, and I developed some long-term health problems, and I was ill in a way that meant that I couldn't work, and also it didn't qualify me for any benefits, so it was a bit of a tricky situation to be in. And the other problem is, also in common with Bluetonic, is I'd started to get interested in guitar playing, so that was quite expensive getting started with that, so I had that other draw on my money. Then what happened is the monitor for my Acorn Archimedes, which had gone from being the absolute sort of top sort of high-end machine of the time when I was at school, to being a little bit out of date anyway. The monitor broke, and back then a brand new colour monitor, well, you know, would be a very low res one, a small one by modern standards in terms of screen size, and just a low res colour monitor costs £150 or something, and I just didn't have it. So what I did is I moved the computer into the bottom of my wardrobe. You couldn't use an Acorn Archimedes with a television, and I had an Amiga 1200 as well at the time, but I sold that to my mother because she was going to use it for her college work, which she did. She used the word processor, and it seems incredible now, thinking, you know, that I was computer obsessed from being about 8 years old, or younger, maybe 6 years old, and I just went a couple of years without a computer. I wanted to buy guitars. I wanted all my money was going into that, and I just lost interest. And also, in terms of what was happening, it was just the end of the Amiga era, really. I mean, Amigas were still around, and same with RISC OS driven Acorn machines like the Archimedes. They were around, but basically they died off, and then I just had an amazing, for me, 2 years of no computer. So I was more into music. Anyway, so then I had a bit of a financial windfall. A couple of years later, I'd be probably about 20, and I decided to get a computer again. I think before that I'd started again using Acorn Archimedes, and I had a friend who would sometimes lend me his old modem, which was a 2400 modem, very slow modem, because he had a 14.4 modem, and it sometimes let me have that. And what I did with the Acorn Archimedes is someone actually gave me an old composite green screen monitor, and I used that with the Acorn Archimedes, so that was my setup. And I'd go on bulletin boards with it a bit, and that was very good fun. And then, like I said, I had a bit of a financial windfall, so I decided to get a computer again. There was no point in upgrading the old computers. Well, I might add, some people did. Some people were still sticking with Acorn machines at that point in the very late 90s, and the Amiga, that was still going, but they were actually by then quite expensive machines by compared to PCs. So then I started with a 386 PC. Now I'd looked in the back of Micromart, and there was a company selling 386 PCs for £250 with a monitor. That would be a standard VGA monitor, I think, or maybe a super VGA monitor. And I looked at that, and then I think I made a bit of a misstep, really, and I don't blame the guy involved. It was very good of him, but a friend's dad said, well, for 200 I'll give you my old 386 with some gubbins and everything, but it came with a mono monitor, and I think that was a bit of a mistake. I think even then I should have spent the extra 50 and got a system with a colour monitor, because it was a bit of a miserable time in a way, having to use a monochrome monitor for about a year, because I mean I couldn't afford another one. I mean even then the sort of standard of monitors, sort of a 14-inch super VGA monitor, brand new, even then still £150, and I just couldn't afford it that year after I bought the computer. So funny thing with that is I used to have these recurring dreams where I'd be using the computer in the dream, and then sort of I'd just reach around the side of the monitor, and there was like a little colour switch I'd never noticed before, so I'd sort of have a go with that. And anyway, so I'd flick the switch and oh, it was colour after all, and I just never realised. So I think that's a wish fulfillment dream. Anyway, so it was a bit miserable, but it was very interesting, very satisfying getting back into computers, and that's the beauty with a PC. Once you've got a PC, you can upgrade it. You can be very much a bottom feeder. If you hear about someone else upgrading, maybe you can get their old parts. And it was a nice reintroduction to computers, playing things like Doom and Doom 2 with a mono monitor. Snag there is that the sprites for the enemy and for yours were the same colour, and it lets you attack your own units. So sometimes I'd end up attacking my own units in Doom 2 because you know, there's no way of differentiating them on a monochrome monitor. Doom 2 on a, well, Doom 2 on a monochrome monitor, playable, not really as good as it could have been. And then so I sort of gradually got back into computers with the 386 PC, and you know, it's a bit like the Only Fools and Horses joke with the character Trigger, where he says that he's had the same broom for 15 years. You know, he works for the council, and he says it's had 15 new handles and 8 new heads on it, but it's the same broom. And that's basically what my PC, my main PC, is now. It's still the same one. Every part of it has been replaced since those days, but the PC really was a great machine for someone with practically no income, because like I said, you could just be a bottom feeder with it, and just get spare parts. Other people would upgrade. You get the hand-me-downs, you shove it in, get a little upgrade. And let me see, then let me see, I got a colour monitor for a while. It broke, had to go back to the mono monitor for ages. It was terrible in a way. It was a good machine, a good platform to get into, and I just played all those, you know, 386 era DOS games. And then and nowadays things have lightened off. I mean, you can get a usable monitor a usable monitor, a 15-inch from a second-hand shop or a car boot sale for £10 or something. So now it's not as bad. If there's no real excuse for not having a computer, you know. I mean, when you see what some people spend on cigarettes, you know, £10 a week on cigarettes, I don't know, a week's worth of cigarettes and a pint down the pub or something, that would buy you a monitor now. But it wasn't like that in the mid to early 90s. So that's really my little story about my year away from computers. I don't know what this video is going to look like. This camera has very disappointing video, but at last I've got a camera with video on it. So okay, cheers. I'll do some more tag videos when I've got time, when I've got a house to myself. Anyway, I hope this video comes out. I hope it was recording. And I've not made any notes, so I bet there's loads of little things that I've forgotten to say. But okay, there we go.